Little PD pump. Let rip.
Well, here's what I want to know. How on earth could you even need a little PT pump to help you when Lance Tramp Stamp Hoyt is in the ring there? Like, surely you'd get one look at that Tramp Stamp and you wouldn't even need little PT pump anymore.
You'd be ravenous.
Nature would just take over.
That's one thing. Once I saw he was on this, I was like, oh, the Tramp Stamp is back. And it's so distracting. All you can see is just the whole thing.
12,
okay.
Which was 12 guys in that ring. They're battering each other. They're climbing up to catch briefcases that make no sense because there's a 25% chance you'd be fired. And still, like, there could be cartwheeling clowns on fire in the middle of that arena, and all you can see is Tramp Stamp, Tramp Stamp.
Which is more distracting? Lance Hoyt's Tramp Stamp or Kip James ring gear?
Oh my God, yeah.
They're both real bad.
But you know what? At least Kip James' ring gear is in keeping with the
character. That makes sense. Yeah. That's true. That's very true.
Lance Hoyt's Tramp Stamp is just I'm like this huge guy. I'm like really strong. I have these like real kind of old school hard hitting violent matches, but also on my lower back I am an 18-year-old sorority girl. All right, Lance.
I think that's why they paired him up with the really hot girl who came out, because they're like, surely she's okay with it. You should be too.
and then they talk to him backstage in real life. Also, devout Christian. I was like, Lance, I have no idea what you're about.
You're giving me all mixed signals here, buddy.
Mishmash of different ideas and ideologies and.
Yeah, maybe he was drunk. That could be it.
Maybe, yeah. And like now, to be fair to him, he does in later years get it covered up, and he is now like one of my genuine favorite wrestlers. Lance Archer in AEW, he's class. He's in a tag team nowadays with Brian Cage. It's just these two huge guys who murder people. Brilliant, but the little part of me, every time I look at the tattoo on his back now is of like a graveyard. Yeah. But it's obviously like it's a cover-up job. And as much as I love him, I'd be sitting watching his matches and I'd be looking at the graveyard and I'd be going, I know what's buried underneath that graveyard.
So I have a sign I'm going to take with me to the next AEW show. I have my next sign I'm going to take with me to my next AEW show, or if anyone's listening, please, you have my full permission to take the sign. Lance, I missed the Tramp Stamp.
Bring it back.
I bring back the Tramp Stamp. Yeah, I want to see that on AEW TV, folks. So if anyone can make that happen, I'd appreciate it.
You know what you need is a picture of Lance Hoyt's lower back on that sign.
Yes. I love it. Yes.
You know, or make like a meme of it, like one of those how it started, how it's going. You know?
But look, that aside, the match itself, even though it makes no sense, which I would argue that it does to an extent. I mean, a lot of the guys in there at the time would be lower mid card, like really, really lower middle card.
You've got Shark Boy and you've got
Eli Skipper and Jimmy Rave, you know, guys who are never getting a look in there with, and but they were like workhorses. Like Sanjay Dutt's in there, and he was there for years. Would always be constantly in the mix. I think he works now I think he's in AEW now. He is in AEW now.
Yeah, he's
as a manager.
A manager in AEW now, which kind of surprised we haven't seen him tussle it up, because from what I've seen of him in TNA, he's actually very good.
But a lot of the guys in the ring here who would be in the lower mid card, they are agents for AEW. But the thing about it is, it's like they never would get. They'd never be in the main mix of things really at this point in TNA. So it makes sense they would go for it. The ones that. The bit that I kind of liked, because it's shown really what this match was for, is when BG got the case and he's like, oh my God, I don't want this, because him and Kip, they knew that they weren't in the mix. They were lucky to be there, right? They were lucky to have a job, and that kind of, I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah. Look, like I said, there's with these TNA shows, there's a lot of context I'm missing because I don't have the TNA knowledge that.
But like, okay, I'll put it this way, right? You're Shark Boy, right? And this is before you break out and do the Stone Cold Steve Austin thing.
Yeah.
If someone's like, Martin, you have a 1 in 4 chance of getting a title shot. Or sorry, 3 in 4.
3 in 4
shot of getting a title shot. 1 in 4 getting a world title shot. You're probably going to take it because you're like, well, it's either this or I'm going to be curtain jerking for the next couple of years. And if you get fired, sure, you can go to Mexico and find your way back eventually, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, it kind of does even make sense from the perspective of the higher up guys, because if Scott Steiner gets the briefcase that says he's fired, he'd probably just refuse to be fired.
Yeah.
He'd just say no.
He can do what he wants. He's like, no.
Who's going to tell him?
You know? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, that's the thing. It does. It's TNA logic, but it's the most sensical TNA logic of the show. So I'm okay with it. Like, I heard somebody run down the King of the Mountain match during the week, and I was like, oh, here, what are you doing? Fair enough. Pull the belt down, but the rest of it, we're okay with. The next match, however, is probably the match of the night. And I say that with no joking. It's genuinely the match that stands up. It's Gail Kim defeating Awesome Kong. Fair enough. It's by disqualification. But this match, it's like the middle of a saga. So I'm not really gonna go too hard on it because like it wouldn't pay off now for a little while. But Gail Kim, absolute, like, I would say invented modern women's wrestling, along with Awesome Kong. Obviously, Awesome Kong's a much easier sell because she's a lot bigger. She's able to, you know, be a lot more domineering than Gail Kim. Gail Kim has to work a bit harder because she's, you know, an average frame for a woman. But at the same time, when you watch her do what she's doing, it looks very standard by today's wrestling, right? But that's because they were all inspired by it. And, you know, I was listening to an interview with Becky Lynch, and she was saying that she actually wanted to go to TNA because this is the place where the women were having these kind of matches.
Some of them.
Well, some of them. But cast your mind back to 2006, 2007, when we were looking at Cyber Sunday and Taboo Tuesday and what the women were doing there.
Yeah, like in TNA, some of them are having these embarrassing